Hey there, I'm Jessica, and this is Bookshelf to Big Screen. Today, I'm going to do the Goodreads Book Tag. If you're not familiar with Goodreads, it's an app that lets you track the books that you're reading and want to read. I myself was pretty late to getting around to using Goodreads. I really only started using it about 2 years ago, and I am sad that it took me so long to start using it because I find it so helpful. Every time I come across a book, it's easy to save it in my want to read file. And when I'm at a bookstore or shopping for books, I can quickly pull up that list and look for some books that I have marked that looked interesting to me that I really want to get to. I also like you get to make shelves, which I use for my channel. So I have like a list of books that I want to read specifically that I can do reviews on later. One of my favorite features is there's a challenge. You can set a challenge for yourself on how many books you want to read for the year. And that's been a good motivator for me to get more reading done. There's an area that lets you keep track of progress on any books that you're currently reading. I really like that too. I like to see my progress. And I really like the feature that shows you all the books that you've read for the year and you see all the covers, and it's a nice little composite of your reading for the year. Okay, so first question, what was the last book you marked as read? I got my app here, so I'm going to look. The last book I marked as read was Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. What are you currently reading? I'm currently reading 2 books. I'm almost finished with the book You by Caroline Kepnes, and I'm also reading The Boys Volume 1, which is a graphic novel by Garth Ennis. What was the last book you marked as to be read? So in the app, it's actually want to read, but the last book I marked was Lovecraft Country by Matt Ruff. What book do you plan to read next? So I don't actually decide this from my Goodreads app. Earlier this year, I found out that my library makes their digital copies available through the app Libby, which I really, really like. It's very easy to use. What I do is go through my Libby app and search the books that I have on my want to read file in Goodreads, and I will tag them so that I can find them easier later. And then when I'm ready to read a new book, I'll look at my tags and I'll see if any of those books are available. And that's how I decide to read my next book. I do know the book that I have available in Libby to read next after I finish You is Normal People by Sally Rooney. So that's what I'm going to be reading next. Do you use the star rating system? I do use the star rating, but I don't really like it. I wish it was 1 through 10 stars, maybe, to give it more of a spectrum, because I feel like 5 is just not enough. Like some books I really like, but I didn't love, and I don't know that 4 stars is as much as I want to give them, but I think 3 stars is maybe too little. I feel inhibited by the 5-star rating system. I do use it so that I can remember how well I liked something, but then sometimes I look back and I see books that I gave 4 stars and I think to myself, was that really 4 stars? Did I really like it that much? So, I don't know. Next question. Are you doing a 2020 reading challenge? I am. So this year I originally challenged myself to 1 book a month, but then when I joined a book club, I thought for sure I'm going to get 1 book a month, but I challenged myself to 2 books a month. So I did 24 books, and I hit that a few months ago, which was really exciting. I like that you set a goal and you meet it, and that's motivating for me at least. I'm currently at 35 books out of my 24 book goal. So now I'm hoping to hit 40 by the end of the year. If you're competitive at all, like I am with myself, I think the reading challenge is a nice feature because it makes me want to read more, push myself. I really like it. It's a good motivator for me. Do you have a wish list? So I'm a little confused by this question. I looked through the app and I didn't see anywhere that there's a wish list kind of feature other than the want to read folder. I don't keep a wish list for books on Amazon or anything like that. I have added books to my wish list. I use thrift books sometimes. I like to buy books secondhand, and right now I can't go to a local bookshop or secondhand store, so um, I've been using thrift books from time to time. So I do have a wish list there. Other than that, I don't really keep one just because I have that want to read list and I feel like that serves its purpose. What book do you plan to buy next? Normally, I would not have a book in mind lined up for what I'm going to buy next. If I'm in a bookstore or shopping for books, I specifically know what I'm going to buy at that time, but I don't have a waiting list of books to buy. Right now, however, I'm in a book club, so the next book I'm going to be reading is You Should Have Known by Jean Hanff Corlitz. I hope I said that right. That's the next book I'm going to buy. And I know I'm going to buy it because it's not available in my Libby app, so I need to buy it for the book club. Do you have any favorite quotes? Share a few. So I've had this habit probably since I was a teenager. I would read a book with an index card inside so that I could write down my favorite quotes or any notes I had or things like that. And now I read mostly in Kindle, so you have the highlight feature, which I really like. But in addition to the highlight feature, Kindle lets you share a quote. You can highlight a section and share it, and then share it as a text quote. So now this is what I do. I will copy this text and then save it in my notes app. So I do this with every book I read. Whenever I find a quote that I really like, something that's a character said that really stands out to me, I save it. So I'm going to go into my notes app and pick out the most recent quote I've saved. So this is from You that I'm currently reading by Caroline Kepnes. Suspense is good for people. It makes us stronger. This is why America loves Stephen King so much. He keeps us on the edge of our seats until it hurts. I don't know that this is a great quote, but it stood out to me because in the book they talk a lot about Dr. Sleep, and I just did my last video on Dr. Sleep, so I was laughing at that. Oh, this is a good quote that I liked from Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I ached once, hard, like a period typed at the end of a sentence. I liked it. Here's a funny quote from The Martian by Andy Weir. My asshole is doing as much to keep me alive as my brain. This I thought was funny because he's on Mars and he's trying to propagate plants and uses his feces as manure. But I feel like that's kind of true all the time, right? Who are your favorite authors? Stephen King was one of the first authors that I really was into as a young reader. And he's got a wide range of thrillers and just good stories that I have been into. So he's definitely up there. Neil Gaiman is one of my all-time favorites. He just creates these fantastic worlds and his writing is so funny. I love him. And probably one of my oldest favorites too would be Douglas Adams. It's just so funny. That's my kind of sense of humor and I'm into it. Have you joined any groups? I have not joined any groups on Goodreads. It's a social app, but I don't use it that way. I mostly use it to keep track of what I'm reading, what I want to read. I don't really know a lot of people who are using it as a social app personally, so maybe that's one of the reasons that I've kind of been hesitant to use it. I have joined bookish groups on Facebook. That's probably where I'm the most active. So there you have it, the Goodreads Book Tag. I found these tags and I'm doing these in hopes that you get to know me a little bit better, and I'm having fun doing these tags. So I hope you enjoy them. Please subscribe if you haven't already. See my next video. Thanks for watching.